Ashibote. Yes, me.
Yes.
Are you comfortable maybe this side for those ones? Don't you think so? Our phones are off. Not off like your your volumes. Yeah,
Silent.
Yeah. Are you going to take them? Yeah, that's okay. Yeah, I think my fellows will be there.
It's open already for you. Just give me a second, I'm putting the live on.
How long does it take, sir?
Yes, Baba. You can take it when I'm not on the phone, sir. Silo, you can take it while I'm not. You don't want me to?
That's fine.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Please connect him on the Wi-Fi. Yeah. But you want from here? Yes. I'm about to go live. Okay.
Yeah. You're left.
Okay, we are about to go in the next minute. Have you put the main starting graphic? Put starting graphic. The other main banner.
Yeah, no. Not the very next week. This channel is paying around 6 million. And then on Facebook, you are likely, you can go viral to 2 billion. Depends on how we feed it.
Okay.
So this will give us also a leverage to start up.
Okay, are we ready? We are good.
sir.
Okay. Listen, calm down. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You are live.
Good evening once more. We welcome you to the presidential talk with BJ Langa, the president of Eco Forum. Tonight is a special night. I'm not alone. I have in the studio substance. I have main thinking tanks, and we are about to enter into a very sensitive topic of national interest, technology economies. May we just open our hearts and just our homes, as we'll be actually now retrieving and coming down to you through knowledge economics, so that we can understand exactly where we are as a nation. It is important, especially in this time of the emergence of coalition government, that we hear other voices in how to take economy into a place where it is an inclusive secular economy. Let me just welcome my guests, who are also my partners, and I am so thrilled to have them in the studio. Let me begin and say thank you for coming, Dr. Sibiya. Thank you, sir. How do you do tonight?
No, thank you. Thank you.
I am so great. I'm grateful, man. Yes, thank you for your presence, and I believe that you're having a load for us in order to share with South Africa and the world, and begin to now, demystify this myth of technology, and so that we can bring it down to ordinary people of South Africa. We are so glad to have you, and also we believe that South Africa today will benefit.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. And on my left, I have Dr. A. Mafura. Sir, we are so blessed and thrilled that you are here today. You left everything and you come this far, because I believe that these are times for electioneering, and as you will be the one telling our viewers and also South Africa, if I have to be the man to present you, it would be in the other ways. But now we thankful, sir, that you are here, and believing that you'll be running in terms of premiership of this province in Gauteng. We are thankful, sir. Welcome, sir. Thank you. Now, let me say this now, viewers at home, and everybody that is watching us tonight. This is not going to be any formality in how we're going to run this program, but we want to pour our hearts to you, as I promised the nation, that we have policies that we have put together as an organization. Remember, Eco Forum is a government. It is a government which now is determined in towards serving its people, and now all our policy making are actually influenced by ordinary people, whom we call that they are the real government. Now Eco Forum, as we said, that it shall serve as the inclusive economy champion and leading through its people. Now we have adopted interdependent link strategic pillars, which are as follows: economy, education, and social. And also to break it down a bit, and we also have imposed 12 executive orders that we all are going to go through as a nation into understanding what we're talking about. And namely, we have reindustrialization of peripheral industries. We have reprioritization of SA primary sector economies. Then we have reprioritization of SA secondary sector economies, such as manufacturing. Also, we have infrastructure and engineering. But now, the key topic of tonight is for us to talk about the reinforcement and also the importance of modern techno-economies, such as blockchain, cryptography, you can name them. And I believe that my guest in the studio would be able to share with us their experience and also their insight. Now, tonight it is the presidential talk, and the thinking tanks in SA are here as we start rolling and talking. Now, let me start first now with Dr. Sibiya. Dr. Sibiya, we are living in a time whereby there is a crucial need of reforms, and technology also comes as one of those, meaning enforcements that begins to dictate the economy of a nation. Now, what is it that South Africa, or that you have within you, that you can share with South Africa out there in regard to the policies that goes with your movement? What is it that you can actually tell our people in order to understand, meaning also how to incorporate themselves to technology economy?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. President. I think the very critical thing to start with, because it's very critical that we start to lay the background, that all of us, we can then be in the same, to have the same understanding and the platform to really make sense of some of the things. The first critical thing, as a country, South Africa, we are living at times where this country, in the way that we do things, we are consumer-centric.
That's right.
Which then simply means that we depend mainly on other people to produce for us and then for us to consume.
That's right.
And that on its own, it affects this country in a number of ways. One, we are in a process where we say as a country we want to create job opportunities.
That's right.
But if we are not then sort of involved in making products that are very critical, like technological products, that are very critical in the economy itself.
That's right.
And then there's other people that you depend on. How does that position you as a country globally in the economy? That's the first thing. But the second thing is then to say, how do you then ensure that we have got a capacity that will enable you to compete in the global market that is out there? As we all know that we are in the what we call fourth industrial revolution, where is the economy that is driven by technology. One of the other things that probably which is part of our history where we are, will know that government of South Africa has owned some shares within Vodacom, which is the important entity in how we do things today. But we all know that some of those shares, our government decided to sell those kind of shares. We have got Telkom. I think we also did the same some years back. But then what does it say is, with our current status in this important era where technology plays a very critical role in how we do things today. One, we have checked the critical component of where we understand what is our IT roadmap as a country, where then now it needs then to inform the way in which we do things, because we know that technology is critical in almost all the sectors. But we need to choose the space where we want to play.
All right.
But also I wanted to share the background that says in the world globally, if we were to look at countries that invest into research and development, because that also plays a very critical role in the space that we find ourselves, because the fourth industrial revolution, it has not been there for all of us, for the world in general. So we are not there. So those people that are able to take the #1 spot, also we started at the same line. The difference is that it might be that they had more resources than us.
Okay, all right.
That's a difference.
All right.
So what I'm then saying, I'm trying to share with the public is that to say, if we were to look at our investment into the research and development, you'll find that we are around 30-something in the world, globally, investing into research and development. And that on its own, because it has to contribute to how we create jobs, and it has to also contribute to the education system, because as we find the new knowledge, and then we are able to say, inject it to the education system so that we develop that skill, so that we can then be able to start to contribute to our economy effectively. So that's another component. So you'll see that countries that are taking the top spots there, you'll find that will be your US, your China, your Germany, your Japan, and all those countries.
Okay.
And you will see that if you look at this new economy that we are talking about now, you'll find that they are the ones that are also playing in there. Then what does it mean about us? It means that we are still going to be a consumer-centered country in that space, because we are not active enough in innovating on coming up with our own products that we consume, especially in the IoT. Someone would say we consume a lot of products, especially in the technology space, that is from China, which is not wrong, you know. So those are the kind of things that we need to look into. But then now coming back to say, here is the fourth industrial revolution, is to say, what is it that we have done as a country? We have not done much.
Okay.
When it comes to that, there are countries that have went to a point where they even invented some of the things. You look at issues of our economy in terms of employment, and you'll start to relate some of the things that are happening now to the fourth industrial revolution, because you'll see that there are people that are saying we are not going to have offices where, and then we are not going to continue employing the total number of employees that we've been having, because technology is here, is making our work easier and stuff like that.
All right.
So those are the effects of the fourth industrial revolution, where you'll find yourself that in the fourth industrial revolution, we have got ways in which then now you can be able to still run the same operation but with less human resource in it, because it's technology that enables business people to be able to do much with less.
Okay.
So that's the negative around that.
But does it really kill human capital? Or does it really? Because I think the fear that the people has is whether technology will actually take away their jobs. But now, if maybe you can take it directly to that to really settle it in their hearts.
I will not lie. I was looking at the internet one day, and I saw, I don't know whether it's a president from Japan, where he said, we must not, IT people, they must stop lying and say artificial intelligence is not here to take people's job. What is critical, and what I would like to share, is true that there are jobs that people are going to lose, but also there are going to be jobs that are going to be created. I'm going to give an example. If you go to, I think I went to one McDonald's, I think in KZN, and then when I got there, I found that you can then be able to order. You don't have to go to somebody there, but you can just, in the system, order then pay.
That's right.
And then you go, get your order, and then you go and eat. That's how it is. So that on its own says we need less people to be employed. Other example would be petrol attendants, for example. You need to go to a point where there's no need to have much of those. You can run a browser with about maybe 10 petrol pumps with 2 people. You don't need all the rest of the people there, because people, they can go in there, park the car, and then take the pump and then put in, then tell the pump the capacity and everything, and then pay after that, and then they go. They don't need. So that is another example. So if you look at all of those, the banks, they're starting to do the same thing now as we speak. They have announced that they are going to be closing shops in other branches and all that, which means they don't feel like it's necessary to have those people. So it is one of those kind of things that we need to then to look into. But on the other hand, it says we need then to start to develop capacity in the space that then this fourth industrial revolution is driving us towards.
Okay.
Because what it means that the kind of skills that we have now is irrelevant to this economy.
It's irrelevant.
So now we need to have another skill that will be relevant to this economy, which will then now, for example, is the skill to be able to support those technologies that now are taking this kind of job, to develop this kind of technologies that are able then now to take this, which means the focus mainly, it might not be the human capital, but it might be that we need to start to invest more on technology, because technology now needs to start to absorb a lot of people that will then be able to support the economy going forward. So those are the kind of things that we need to start to think of, especially just to answer your question there, to say, is the fourth industrial revolution, which you'll talk about a different subcomponent when you talk about technology. There you'll talk about your cloud computing, you'll talk about Internet of Things, where you are just changing your building or your environment and you make it smart, where you will have artificial intelligence, where you will have robots that will be able to sort of reason as a human being those kind of things. So those are the kind of things that in other countries they are there already, but in South Africa are not yet there. And it says, then we had it's the same opportunity, because when it started, if you look at the word clock, it's the same for everyone. But we're not there to invest a time where then it was supposed to give us an advantage to be able to capitalize in the market. You know? So
right.
Those are the kind of challenges that we need to look into and say, how do we then build the South Africa that we want, given the fact that even in the critical, because the reason why you'll find that most not yet developed countries, you'll find that we still have challenges even with data. You'll find that data is very expensive. It's not everyone that can.
Especially in South Africa.
In South Africa. So you'll find that we can't afford it.
Okay.
And then you'll say, and then communicating, for example, for me, if I'm in some of the rural areas in KZN, you'll find that I still use 2G, but there are people that are telling you they're using LTE in areas. All of those kind of things, and if we were then to look at the high level of the three challenges that this country is facing, then we'll relate that to inequality. Because it means that if I'm there in the rural areas, then I don't have the same service compared to somebody living in the urban areas and stuff like that. So there's still those inequalities. But then when you look at the technology itself, then for us to enable the fourth industrial revolution, for example, the Internet of Things that says almost everything will be connected to the internet, then, but you're still going to have the same problem in rural areas that you cannot be able to connect because they are still using the 2G than the 3G and the 4G and the 5G that they're talking about now. Other countries are talking about 6G or whatever, and all those kind of things. But where are we as the country? So the critical component there is then what we call it connectivity. And then connectivity plays a very huge role in us ensuring that we are able to reap the benefit of the fourth industrial revolution.
Okay.
So the issues of the spectrum in this country is one of the critical components. Second to what we call land ownership.
Okay.
Because if you were to look at the spectrum itself, it will be able to open opportunities for people even in rural areas to even start to have those business to support to supply data and all those kind of things. The spectrum on its own can create. It has got the potential to create job opportunities for this country.
True. That's true.
That's one. But also on top of that, it enables us to be able to be connected. So it's a very critical component that we now need to look into and say, how do we ensure that everyone has got an access to this animal called the spectrum? That I believe, in my own view, is the very critical component. Second into what we call land ownership.
Well said, well said. What I've actually depicted from your talk is that education must be directive to our economy. Meaning we need to have an education that speaks to the economy.
That is very critical for this country, because if we are saying we are a developing country, which means we are a building country.
Okay.
And then if we are a building country, then education then forms a very critical role in the system.
All right.
But then we cannot do any just kind of education. It means that our education needs to be aligned to our strategic pillars, economic strategic pillars of the country.
That's right.
Which will then say, in this country we prioritize agriculture.
Okay.
And then if we prioritize agriculture, what is our education system doing in ensuring that we have got all the expertise that we require,
That's
but
right.
also we have got the awareness, because education systems, they don't only just play the role of educating people, they also make us aware of some of the things.
Okay.
So the awareness, and then where we start to feel the importance of agriculture,
Precisely,
is start there at the school level. And then that is then the relevant education system to the economic times of today, which then is very critical for South African to understand, because we cannot still be labeling beds and locusts at school while there are critical things. Kids in China, they are playing with tablets, but we are labeling the locusts and stuff like that in South Africa. It cannot be correct.
It's true.
It cannot be correct in this time.
Agreed.
So we need then to find a solution that is going to enable us to have that education system that really talks to the economy. But if you don't have the economic direction as a
Okay.
country,
Yeah.
then it'll be difficult to determine that.
But-
Because if you look at also their social needs,
Yeah.
will
Yeah.
then also depend on how you are doing with your education system,
With your education
but also
system.
with the economy itself.
Okay.
Because if our economy is able to absorb the let's say 70% of the population of this country, you will find that some of the challenges that we have as a country will go down, because the economy is able to address some of the challenges. But also the education at the same time,
Yeah.
because the education system then now need to be able to make sure that the kind of people that now we are saying they exist in the economy and they are not relevant to economy, then we upskill them to a level where then they have become relevant to the economy.
To the economy.
Yes.
Well said, Dr. Spear. You know, we spoke education, which speaks to our economy. And again, what comes into my heart as I look also at the growth plan of action of this government of EcoForum is that you see the GPA 2100, which we said that our dedication to it is centenary,
Yes.
meaning it's a generational plan. It's not an electioneering kind of a plan.
Yes.
So now also to change and impact lives. You can't impact lives in a month time. You impact life in a decade or 3 or 2 or 3 or 4 or so. Now going on like that. So now we have actually put it this way. We said that now our GPA 2100 must actually be provocative. The reason why we say provocative is because it must interrupt the status quo. It must definitely interrupt the status quo. That's the reason why things that we do are different and that will amuse and amaze the community of South Africa. And that's what they need. That's what people have been looking for. And now also it must be grounded. Now, grounded, we mean that it cannot be fanciful. I mean, it should be so grounded to reality and build upon our people. You see, it must be a build-up upon our people. So now, in other words, then when you go to the third one, we say it must be really desired. That's our plan. It's our national plan. Must be really desired. Meaning it must reach out to the desired emotions and meet a real need. So in that way, this will help, meaning also us in executing the plan and also coming down to a place of implementation. Now let me bring it down as we talk to our shadow premier on my side here. I'm so excited because I know that you see South Africa is watching, and also Gauteng, particularly also Gauteng and Limpopo. You see, this is a blessed man, you know. I haven't seen any man who stands for 2 provinces for reasons that we know. And I want just to bring it down to you, Dr. Mafura,
Yes.
just to lay it out for us in terms of, you see, the strategic plan that has been outlined by the movement and the government of EcoForum. What do you have in your heart to pour to the people?
Thank you very much, President.
Thank you, sir.
And thank you for this time. Let me outline by saying this to South Africans and to all confidants across the country, that the reason why we are here tonight is because, number one, we are an emancipating economy.
That's right.
And we are EcoForum, especially coming to the challenges
Yes.
that are facing
That's right,
South Africa
yes.
as a whole,
Yes, sir.
but particularly in Gauteng.
Yes, sir.
And that's where I want to come, actually make points clear.
Okay.
That our mandate and our policy speaks of the key drivers of our programs of action. And we need to group them accordingly. But one thing that I needed to actually reach Dr. Sibia with what he has been saying is economy in the world is doing very well.
That's right.
But on the grassroots level,
Yeah.
it's suffering.
Okay.
And that's why you see challenges of high employment rate has increased, Mr. President, up to 28%. Gauteng alone.
Unemployment.
You've got
yes.
so many
yes.
young people who are not working at the moment. And some of the challenges that they are facing is they cannot reach the economy.
Uh-huh.
And we've got
Oh.
young minds, brighter minds, minds that are sitting there with ideas. Remember, we're living in the days where young people are exposed to the economy through the internet, through everywhere in the world. And they also have this organism within themselves that they can create.
That's right.
And now, one thing that we lack in this government is we're not enough capacitating the people who are coming forth with the minds of actually participating in the economy. Now, one of the things that the policy that we put here is we went to this one, primarily the first priority is the reindustrialization of peripherals industry. Now, why? Because one of the things we noticed about the unemployment challenges that we have in this country is, I want to put it clear out there to all the confidantes, that the vote that you will be giving to Ecoforum is, number one, Gauteng is the better place to live in equitable growth for inclusive economy.
That's right.
Now, you have the mandate by the Constitution not to actually lay and sit where you are and wait for opportunities to come to you. Now it's time that you move from where you are and reach the economy where it is.
All right.
Now let me give an example. I've traveled to DRC.
Yeah.
In 2018 September.
That's right.
Now, one of the things that fascinated me is you find out that the people on the ground, actually, they don't care about what the government does for them.
Okay.
They are the economists themselves.
All right.
They are running those small businesses and they are busy. And that's what keeps the economy growing. If you don't have small businesses that are running at the moment and are efficiently capacitated in this country, we've got a privilege that our government can also do funding. African countries, they don't have funding at all. Now, one of the things that I want to talk about today, which I want to put it out there as a challenge, especially in Gauteng, is what we call township economy and localization.
Okay.
Now, I hear a lot of politicians talking about nationalization.
All right.
Now, how do you nationalize something that you haven't yet started to localize it? Now, when we talk about the township economy, that's where we have a very big challenge. Young minds are sitting there looking forward, to come out and reach out to government and say, funds, give us exposure. But there's nothing like that.
That's right.
And I'll give you an example, the reason why I'm talking about the economy of township. And that responsibility, my president, has to be taken by the municipalities and also the local government to make sure that township economy is growing. At the moment, if you look at in our townships currently, you look at the businesses that are vibrant in the township economies, it's actually foreigners.
I get you.
Businesses that are dominating those spaces of local township.
Yes.
Now, let me break it further. Now, when you look at what's happening down there,
yes,
you'll realize, President, that at the moment you've got more spaza shops that are unregulated. There is no bylaws, and most of them, they are selling products that are not even manufactured in this country. And hence, those sicknesses and hence health problems is big in local townships. Because our people are not yet educated to know whether this thing has got a standard or not. And when you look at that space, the GDP, when you look at that space of the foreign nationals that are actually running those township local businesses that are there in townships, you'll realize that they make more money. Something that we are saying as Ecoforum. We're looking into actually coming down to that level.
Yes.
To say, let us trust our local products that are manufactured out of the young minds that are sitting in the locations as we speak.
That's right.
And let us develop them, let us train them, let us bring them. Now, one of the challenges that you see with the economy that we speak in a government level, it does not reach down there. Now, young people don't have information. If you can ask 10 young people around to say, what is Gauteng Propeller? Tell me about NYDA. They won't tell you, because those things are not exposed to them. Now, what Ecoforum is doing at the moment is we want to emancipate that economy, because that is the driving force of the country for the businesses that are small down there to understand Where is the country going in terms of economy overall?
Okay.
Now, the other one that I wanted to put it to you is that when we look at those township economy,
yes,
we also need to understand that there are also cooperatives there. There are NGOs there that are looking into help. But remember, in this country, no one was born. From example, from where I'm sitting, I never had anybody to come and teach me what is business. We don't have business seminars that we take into young people and to expose them into opportunities that are in economy. Now, the high rate employment is not employing people into government institutions alone. It's to also create an economy for them to be able to deploy the people that they can actually enhance and be able to be a team that can also be supported by government. Let us take those cooperatives out there to the world, exhibit them anyway, and let us take the skill that is there, fund it, because we've got capacity to fund. But instead of us doing that, corruption is taking control from the level of national, but the majority of the voters are not getting those opportunities. It is hard in this country to actually, as a small businesses, to can crack into the markets. Number one, your banking system, fees are very expensive. Very, very expensive. You cannot be granted to get a loan just to run your business. As Eco Forum, we are saying we want to be in a position where banks will be available specifically for the township economies. Now, that they can create employment.
That's right.
Remember, times are changing. And when times are changing and when technology comes and takes a lot of work away from people, then it means the township economy has to be empowered.
Okay.
Then it can also be brought to a socio-economic micro level where it can also be supported. And also, we have what we call proud South Africans in this country. And look at proud South Africans' products. 90% of young people who are in business, they don't know that such institutions does exist.
That's right.
Where we have to now go back and make sure that we afford the government not to procure outside. I can tell you, if you go to Africa, they even, import toilet tissues from China. Where is business people who are able to say, we can have machineries? Now, you look at issues of DTI. Let's go to DTI, for instance. They've got money that they allocate to business, because I know somebody sitting there to say, but we have institutions. But those institutions are not reachable. For you to present your idea, it means you need experience. Now, in a young democracy of 25 years, where will you expect young people to have an experience for them to qualify for a certain criteria of funding? It is impossible. We need to break that barrier. Barrier line between the economy that speaks to township and also SMEs and also the businesses that are emerging. Look at now the statistics in terms of who are the big businesses that are doing very well. Those are the businesses that are monopolistic. Those are the businesses that, as we're sitting here, only to them that are connected. Then they can make it. What about those minds that we need to nurture and train them and bring them to the system of economy to understand the trade, to understand pricing, to understand also how to involve yourself to the market? I believe Eco Forum was meant for reindustrialization into economy of what we call a township economy.
That's right.
It is the biggest thing, because where we are sitting at the moment, we have challenges that they only know us as young people when they want our votes.
Okay.
Yes, but then now when we come back and says, we have put you in power, assist us in terms of growing the economy. Let me tell you, as long as we can talk the economy in the highest level of how we can bring a fourth industrialization revolution into this country, but our young people are not ready or guided or trained.
Being restrained to be trained.
Exactly, to do that. Now it means we're talking something that is going to benefit the few.
Sure.
Now, another point that I wanted to raise, which is the challenge here in Gauteng, was if we are not careful, the infrastructure in Gauteng is aging. And we don't want to come to the position where Cape Town. Cape Town had a problem of drought. Water is not there. At the moment in this country, the level of the dams is very low. it means soon and very soon, in 2-3 years, we're going to have a problem for water in this country. Now, that's where economy of township, economy of SMEs is powerful at. Empower them to look at it. Let us go look at the skills of engineers. Let us look at the skill that is there that can actually work in those municipalities, technology-wise, that can actually help us to say, in an aging infrastructure, one of the things that you see why our municipalities are owing so much into rent water, into ESCOM, it is because the infrastructure of water alone is leaking. And we are not encouraging agriculture to take place in terms of us coming back, President, to say, how do you then develop a particular person in water infrastructure to be able to bring the technology that can bring water from within themselves where they are? We don't have such. Now, let me wrap it like this. Now, we need to be careful on what is called job employment and creation. If we don't reach our people on the ground and able to educate them about the economy and how to do the business with the world, you know, you'll be so shocked, President. One of the things that I've discovered in business, you've got so many South Africans with brighter ideas, but there's no businesses that are excelling across the world. Why? Because we suppress each other when it comes to the issue of inclusive economy. The land we call milk and honey cannot take the milk and the honey outside the world. And it says these are the talents that South Africans has produced. Now we lack such, we lack the intellectuals that will be able to drive the economy in this country to a point where it reached the grassroots level. Where I'm sitting, President, at the moment, let me talk from my background because I think maybe it will be very important. It took me 20 years to understand economy and business. I had to learn myself.
The hard way.
The hard way.
Yeah.
And which I call it the school of life.
That's right.
And now, while we have the constitutions that afford us an opportunity, now we have a ministry called Small Business Ministry that has been launched to assist in that regard. But if you go and look at the statistics, it doesn't speak to the volumes. Let me tell you, it's not all of us in this country are looking to be employed. If minds can be taught, young people can be taught, the youth of this country can be taught how to fish for themselves.
That's right.
Then I believe, President, the question of unemployment is no longer an issue.
Thank you, Dr. Mafura. That's mouthful. I want to say this. As you were talking, I noted a couple of things of importance. That you were saying that we need to stand as a movement and champion, meaning local economies, to a point that we drive it, and as we are also transferring skills to our people at the locality or local level. So that we move them out from being subservient consumers to become producers. So they can employ others. Because you see now, that's the problem that I had many years ago, where education in South Africa only speaks to us, just speaking to us to go and work for somebody else. You see, and I think Dr. Spear spoke about children in China who are actually at the grade or grade 3, lower grades, who are already, they can actually utilize computers. They even know how to repair them because they give it to them to play with. But our children now, they name Nkomo, this is a cow, this is a carrot, but those ones are, I think that is at an ECD level, because they're at an ECD level to identify them, because we need to know that we all are born with diversity in regard to our gifts. So we cannot afford to find that people are streamed on, meaning to want to be doctors and nobody want to be what? No one want to work in agriculture, for the reason that we know that a black child wouldn't actually want to enforce that. Why? Because it was treated as what? As punishment in our time. So now that needs to be superseded so that we come to a point where there is a synergy that will drive this economy. It will drive them, as you said, not from above. Because I always tell them that macroeconomy doesn't actually affect an ordinary person who is in a squatter camp. You need to talk micro, but when you talk micro, you must break it into nuggets. so that you can lay it out like you have heard it from Dr. Sibiya. But now going further there, if maybe also I have to assist in that regard, because of when you talk cooperatives, I heard you.
Yes.
You say we need to revitalize, especially in terms such as this, where cooperatives are falling down, where there's a propaganda that brings them down, and people know what they are doing. You must understand, the people of South Africa don't know that we tread upon, that we step on. At the end of the day, we don't even come to a place of assisting them as we promise, are the real government. So now, as I'm speaking to the nation today, you are the real government, and I believe that you are the ones to give a mandatory in order for leadership to take it and execute it. Now, this technology we are talking about, it goes further. It goes further, as I indicated, that it goes further in all sectors. Every sector needs such. Agriculture needs such. As we spoke, that also meaning the safety and security needs such. Health systems, they need such meaning application. And once we have those applications, we will know how to stand and also to diminish this corruptible. Now, if we talk technology, we're talking mining. Isn't that one of the businesses that were granted? So we need thinking tanks and policymakers that can come together. So I am so excited. Why? Because I believe that the government of EcoForum is talking this. And now in terms of its resolution, let me just lay out a few things that I believe they will be of help. We spoke and we're going to speak again. We'll be speaking until even elections and after elections. We said this technology we're talking about, which I believe the current government also want to incorporate. But now it could be that someone is decelerating for reasons that we don't know. But we're coming with a force to accelerate the processes in order to make it a point that in every police station we have what we call a blockchain system that will operate there. I spoke about it and I'm going to speak about it again and again, that even those that who never heard this can hear it. We need that in our police stations. It will serve a great purpose. How? I mean, when we have the system, nobody can steal a docket. No one can falter a docket. Why? Because it operates through a Genesis system. And then, realize this one, and then, now we will have a supervisor over that. And now that would be also what would be responsible for that. So now, in other words, we're saying, and now when you develop the system, South Africa will be a better country to stay in. People are afraid, people are scared, people are afraid of policemen, people are afraid of professional people. Now that must come to an end. It must cease. In the hospitals, our elders are afraid to even go to clinics and hospitals because of the treatment that is there. And sometimes as they await on lines for many hours and nothing happens. But now if we can vote and we stand and say, we vote for change and we vote as we all become that change to effect the change. So now in other words, then we know that now as we sign for that and we put a cross on that, it means that is implementation of what we're talking about. Now, these things that we're talking about, even before the elections, we believe that we would have reached out to, a couple of them in order to be able to deal, with the injustices and also that we are facing in our nation. Now, if it comes to security and safety, talking technology, Dr. Sibiya, we're talking safety and security. Now, there is, or there could be a way on how we can beef up our security. South Africa failed from 1994. We failed even when we couldn't get the doctor, who's Dr. Mangope, a man who found you on the street and they will come with those hippos and a light will be on you and say, how many are you? And if you are 3, and you will say, no, if you are 3, then it means you are busy with something. But if you are 2, you are friends. But the order that was there, that's why the people of that country were sheepish. Why? Because of the order. So we need to actually adopt such orders, enforce it. Not only pursue what we already are having, and we see that there's no even change. We need to pursue such orders. Now, as much as the minister and everybody, commissioner, are doing their work, great work, we need to also bring forth technology that will assist them even when they are sleeping. that will assist them even when they are not watching, will assist them even when they are not looking, not forgetting prayer as the safety and the security of this nation. Now, I know, gentlemen, that we don't have much, but I need to do this so that we share this with the nation of South Africa. We spoke that we have our interdependent strategic pillars, and we said economy, we said education and social. And now today we're talking technology, which I believe. Now let me just go through the GPA 2100 of the government of EcoForum. Now it stipulates as follows. It says invest in research, innovation, and development strategic to our economic priorities. So now it speaks moreover of what I heard you speaking about, Dr. Sibia, that the technology that is actually required in our economy, we as a government must put a bit of what? A bit of, there must be a pass for what? For research. We need to do what? More research. We need to do more research. So now it means we need more policymakers that should come on board. And we need to be innovative. And now I love what you said, innovation. That one is key, because if you check the trademark of this nation and the patent of this nation, who actually owns up to that, you will understand what we're talking about. Innovation. Every child in South Africa, wakes up with what? With a dream, with a vision, with something that, whenever they put it on a paper, it can change the lives of the people. So now, innovation is key.
I hear you.
In this fourth industrial revolution, it's key. It's what we need. It's what we need to enforce. Now, talking development and also strategic development towards the economy and also the priorities of the economy. And you said again, we need to promote consumption of local IT products,
yes,
and services and solutions.
Exactly.
That is key. Why do we have students who are doing IT in universities, and we will rather scrap it because we're not using it? Why should we import from China while we have our IT students who have dedicated their lives today, and they thought that most of these governments are for them? But they never knew that the government of EcoForum is for the students. Why? Because we understand that if they can be given an opportunity, we will in our nation. Remember, there is one man today who's having the platform to also create a car. He makes a good car, an electric car, but it's from SA, but operative in USA, because that's how things are. So we need to have them and keep them in our nation, keep them in our country. This thing of saying now our progress will come over the sea, it's like taking a glass and you jump the glass. This is water, and you just jump the glass, and you believe that difference will occur. No, difference only occurs through knowledge. And if people are now capable, they've got the capabilities, it doesn't matter which nation and which country they're coming from. Now, I believe that every South African has something to give this nation. So we are calling for South Africans and everybody to say, when you actually are now encountering also these times that are coming, we need to be sober, not looking at where we come from. We can't talk one language. Our fathers have died, yes. Our fathers have went to struggle, yes, and we are thankful. But the time for economic emancipation, we're not fighting about this matter. We are standing strategically in policies in order to place them and to have our white papers, our green papers, so that we can present something tangible. Can I say this government is not led by shouting and toy-toying. Government is led by policy and also by law. So we need to take our people there so that laws can be assented, that our young people also come and they become part of this of this economy. Now, let me just go further, not to take your time again there, Dr. Sibia. If you have in your heart just to breathe again, now in terms of this economy and its technology. Now the practical form of this, because these are things that we have on our growth plan of action. The practical form, because when I talk to people, I say we're doing it tomorrow, we're doing it today. Whatever I say, we're doing it today, tomorrow. If I'm going to have the artificial intelligence gurus here. On Monday, I'll be having them here on the presidential talk. I want to talk about things that I believe they'll come to pass. And that's what I do. I don't want to talk and rhetorics. I am a president of Logos. I am a president of the word, reasoning, and plan. Now, mine to you is this, say, in practicality, what can be done in this nation? Even if it can be a component, what can be done?
I think the first thing that we need to look into is to say, if we were to look at local government, for example.
That's right.
How much of money we have lost that did not go to the services that it was meant to go to.
It's sad.
Billions.
It's very sad.
We have learned from the news that ESCOM has lost close to 500 billion. So, for me, if I'm just sitting there and just looking at all of these things, then I feel like it's easy to make South African millionaires, all of them.
Talk to me, yes.
I can just take 1 billion from the billion that I can save in all of these things, and then we've got 57 million as South African, and then from 1 billion, then I can give everyone to be a millionaire. I can give everyone a million, and then everyone can be a million, and then we can move on. And in there, I can sign a contract that will say, we need to be an active citizen. You need to be able to make sure that no one do things that are against the constitution that we are building as a country.
That's right.
Because they are killing your millionaire already.
Yeah.
How come you can become irresponsible of the economy already you are a millionaire?
You've got the economy in your
Yeah,
house.
you see?
Come on, yes.
So that's that. But also someone will say, you are giving people ownership if you are doing that. It's not only just making them millionaires, you are giving them ownership. Because they will start to own, for example, a property. That's what it is. Just by, we have not done anything. I've just analyzed the things that where we have lost money. And say, if we were to save 1 million out of the millions that I've just talking about.
Billions.
The billions that we've lost.
Yes.
So if you take 1 billion out of the billions that we've lost, and then you make South African, each of them, a millionaire.
That's right.
So you'll be the government that has made South African millionaires. And then you have given them ownership on top of that. That's what it is.
Private ownership. Yes, sir. Yes,
but
sir.
I wanted to go back to the issues of technology because it's critical so that we start to understand. As we have said, in this economy that we're in, everything is technology.
That's right.
And is what it is.
That's
we
right.
cannot run away from
That's
it.
right.
Then it's very critical then to come up with strategies that says IT is our critical component to drive this economy going forward. But then it needs to be driven by what is it that we're going to do. The first thing that we need to do, we need to say we encourage local products in that space, which will then simply means that there are people that are developing iPads, there are people that are developing cell phones, that they can then now start consuming what we have developed ourselves.
Okay.
What stopped that one?
Nothing.
Nothing. We have been assembling computers all this while and everything else. What stopped like doing our own computers? These are things that we do here. I want to raise the danger that is around how we operate in the IT environment. We have been saying in this economy, data is a very critical component. It's very expensive. It's an economy on its own. Data itself. Where is our data sitting? Who owns it? Our social media that we are using, who owns it?
Just talk about that a bit. Yes, I think.
And then we don't.
People are watching.
Which simply means that we don't own our own data. There's someone sitting somewhere that can take our data, analyze how is the pattern, how are we doing things in South Africa, and then to be able to inform his decision on what he needs to do next about South Africa. We have implemented 4P and all of those kind of things, but we know the kind of system that is there, the world itself, and especially the business. Those things they cannot guard against such information. As much as is out there, we have got 4P and all of those kind of things, but they are not going to guard against from somebody that will harness this data and then analyze it and say, in South Africa, the only thing that they need now, they need what? They've got a problem with what? And then what I need to go do in South Africa is then to give them products around what? Because they've analyzed our data, they've analyzed our problems, where's our problems? And then they know exactly what are the solutions that if they come here and they put to us is what we are going to buy.
It's true.
That's what it is.
The question is, what do we own?
Unfortunately, we have not believed in our own people. That's as simple as that.
South Africa.
We have got people that we call government now, which is the ordinary citizens of this country, that they dictate and they say who they want to be the person that stand up there and then represent them. But as to then, when we get in there, we get into power, then we then decide to do the opposite. Because now, the same people that has given us an opportunity to lead them, but then now we decided to say, no, they are not nothing, they're not capable. Why don't we go to China? Because they can't do anything, you know. But if you look at the problems that are affecting this country in general around the economy, I think you'll find that there are systems that were built for the good of it.
That's
to
right.
really make change. But because of the system that is out there, then it's difficult for us to achieve any result with them. You look at our local government. What sits with local government? What is the problem with local government? They will tell you that we have got councillors that have got matric, that they can't read the financial statement, or they can't plan, they can't do all of those kind of things. They are leading people. You have the challenges of having IT experts in those municipalities, because those municipalities they can't afford. But there are solutions to address those problems, because you'll find that 5 municipalities, they are under one district. Why can we then co-share the cost for IT, if that's the problem in the municipality, through the district? We can co-share that, and then we are able to get the benefit of IT through that system. It's simple. That is critical. But what has happened in this ecosystem that we are living in, or the economy that we are living in, you find that there are people that are called experts. I was reading one article on the internet where someone, there's another guy that left, the IT expert that left South Africa and he went to Australia. And the reason that is saying why he left South Africa is because of crime, all of those kind of things that are there. But also is even the IT environment in South Africa that is not conducive for experts, because we are seen not to be sitting there to be think tanks that can influence the technology that we need today, but we are seen to be people that needs to take technology elsewhere and then tweak it and then to work here. Then really there is no need for such an expert. So you need a technical person. So what simply means we go to university and start those big degrees and stuff like that, but the economy does not provide for those kind of skills. Yes. So you can't do anything. So that's a challenge on its own. But also you create the technical people that they cannot do anything. If you find that there is a switch or whatever, we need to call US and they need to tell us what we need to do in those devices and stuff like that. Or in some extent, you find that we even have to fly somebody from China to come and fix those things from China, because in most instances you find that the technology that we use from China is still written in their own language. So we can't do anything in it. So we need to import the skills to come and really do.
As you're talking, Dr. Sbi, I'm something aroused in me that says, are we facing state capture or interstate capture? Because it feels like we are being captured and a long time ago. Because what we have discovered is that as we did our researches, we realized that we have been captured many years ago, actually before we began. So I think South Africa must come to talks and really, you see, to break the bread, and so we can talk, because it's time for South Africa to know the truth. Because we can't talk about these things on the table and people are howling and shouting about them, and they don't come to the things and talk about the real matters that are actually facing South Africa. Because as we are talking, I'm asking myself, how did we get ourselves in this predicament? How can we allow blood to be shed, so much genocide, and our families dying? And when we had to make a decision, then we make a decision whereby 25 years later, we want to revisit the decision through force and, power and all that, while we had an opportunity to address the matter. Because I think we did have an opportunity to deal away, because as I'm listening to you, there's a three-way trade that is actually taking place. And a three-way trade is being there, whereby we as Africans or South Africans remain subservient consumers or slaves. And how do we allow that? Because technology has to do with products, and we project it also in terms of food security, which I believe will have somebody in the studio. We talk about this matter so that we can deal with these things, because it is important to do that to a point that we will actually diminish, because we don't want to raise another sector and kill another one. You see what happened here in SA? They've raised other sectors and they kill the other ones. Because now, if I have to direct it to food security, you see, as I hear you, because it also has to fall into importation. We are bringing things from outside. We depend on what we are getting from outside. 55 million people are depending on what we get from outside. We declare and announce foreign importation and investment and this and that. It sounds good for the nation, but it doesn't. We need to tell South Africa that it does not. Foreign investment is like you're saying, take half of my kingdom. Because what is the repayment of that investment? So as I heard Dr. Mafura speaking, that we need to localize this. Because South Africa falls under localization. Because, as I said, we can't talk nationalization, localization. What is it that we can do in order to improve the lives of the people?
Now, thank you very much, President. Hence, we are here as a forum.
That's right.
One of the things that we need to bring together.
That's right.
Is the civil society.
Okay.
The private sector.
That's right.
And also, we're looking with ordinary South Africans.
That's right.
To come together.
Okay.
Let's influence policies.
Okay.
That speaks about getting those private business people coming into a play.
Okay.
Because most of the monies that are made in mining sectors
okay.
are not benefiting the country. They're actually leaving the country. Now we need such policies that will actually say we are inclusive in this economy. The struggle that we have is also a struggle as a big business person.
That's right, that's right.
And also another thing that we need to look at it to increase the economy of especially Gauteng.
Yes.
Is the immigration system.
Okay.
Remember, one of the things that is facing Gauteng in terms of the growth and the capacity where children at schools cannot be admitted was the influx of provinces coming here.
All right.
Now, that simply says there is no job opportunities across the country. Now, if we can have the immigration systems that can speak, that can talk to big companies
okay.
in the entrances as they enter, they leave the products there, they don't deliver them to the final destinations. And the locals take them there to the final destinations. Now, that is manufacturing. Okay. That is already dead. Okay. Now, when you look at manufacturing that is happening in Gauteng, you look at your BMW in Roslyn, for instance.
That's right.
Those are the guys that are doing everything. There is no value chain systems that allows small business to enter into the market. Now we need to come and formalize the policies that will speak to the entrances of the economy to say, instead of taking this commodity to point A to point B, but this one you can leave it here.
Does that speak to our border gates?
Exactly.
Our border gates, we need to tie them up a little so that we domestically, our domestic policies can speak to our people.
That is creation of work, which at the moment, also you said it, planning. Planning ahead of time.
Yes.
We need to know in 5 years to come, how will be a Gauteng look like in terms of opportunities,
that's right.
Economy that is here.
That's right.
Everybody leaves rural areas because they want a better life.
They want a better
life. The better life, yes. As it says.
Yes.
But most people, when they say better life, they say Gauteng. Now we need to also make sure that we create these opportunities back home there, where we come from.
That's right.
Localize.
That's right.
And believe in agricultural sectors that comes from the empower it. Make sure that those things, they come this side as a final product.
Okay.
So that they can create jobs along the road as they come this side. Now, South Africa is in a problem where we are the same way in Africa, where now we take things raw and we import them.
Okay.
We need now economy that can come and speaks to the minerals that we have to say, what is the best way to get this thing refinery right here?
Why can't you polish them? Because that's what I'm saying. You know, the problem is the relationships that were entered. 1,000 years lifespan of relationships that were entered. That needs to be questioned in order for us to actually begin to develop that kind of a synergy. To say, now because we extract them here raw. So how about beef? Why should they even go there? Why cannot we have our own engineers, you know, to develop such machinery?
I can tell you the problem we have, President UNESCO.
That's right.
It's not the problem that needs a Chinese man to come and fix it.
Okay.
It is because we're not trusting enough to our engineers and empowering them and pay them to actually work on those power stations.
Okay.
We shouldn't have this problem. We have billions of coal, if we have to speak about in line with that.
That's right.
That is sitting underneath us. But the better coal goes overseas, doesn't stay. Even if though I know I'm talking about the green energy at the same time.
That's right.
But we are saying, let us have mechanisms. As Oko Forum, we want to bring the policies that will speak to ordinary people.
That's right.
To say, you own this constitution. You own this land. It is your place for you to be diversional in any manner, in any how. Like I understand, monopolistic, where you talk about currencies. Remember today, we are living in the days where we are scared to actually speak about these things, because if I talk about them, another country then will downgrade us. Now we don't have an opportunity now to can actually borrow more money. We are the country that is owing money to World Bank like never before, President. Why? Because we don't believe in our people that sometimes there's nothing wrong to actually not nationalize, but localize. And also come to the township economy, localize, and believe in the product of our South African people. And now we are saying, rather, leave us if you don't want to give us the money to do that. But we know those resources that they use them and bring back in this country as cars are coming from here.
Oh, time will be jealous on what we do here. But let me just, in practicality, in closure there, to say, you see, when we talk municipal,
Yes.
Eco Forum, even on the GPA 2100,
Yeah.
we speak what we call household municipal. Like you can go there and check infrastructure. We speak household municipal, and how about that? How's that? We're saying now, if you look at where our people are, especially so-called rural areas, which we want to nullify this and call it local, because localization must start there and come this far. So now those are our local people, those are our countrymen. And we need to address this issue of inequality in terms of water, and sanitary and all that. How do you do that? We are going to develop what you call household municipal, because you remember we'll have also the power to deal away with the municipal, because now municipal has its own legislature. And as far as you go to the provincial, and at the end of the day, in terms of what you speak there in the guest house, then you don't have the power to also begin to put them to be responsible on whatsoever that happens. So it has been left like that, because some people know, even some leaders, they know that that's their tap. That's their tap where they can actually practice those incorruptible deeds, where at the municipal level. But if you go household, what do? You are empowering ordinary people. Where? In the so-called rural, which are the local men and women. And those, you already have economy there, as you spoke. You've got local economy there. How so? You've got a borehole, meaning a tap there, that is utilized in that community, and it's been used by 100 to 200 people. Now, if people come there in terms of human capital, how about you going there? And as a government of EcoForum, then what we do, we bring technology. Can I say this now? And I'm going to say this to everybody. We bring in the technology that will speak, and also towards meaning water. As I said, that water is human right. I mean, it's a basic human right. You can't promise people water. You can't even electioneer and try to campaign using this commodity called water. Water is a necessity. Now, it was granted by God. I'm going back there because that's where we derive our strength and everything. It was given by the Creator. So it is important for even us as a government to understand that. Now, the government of EcoForum speaks this, and in clear, I'm going to bring it to you now, that when we talk water, let there be what you call like family municipal, household municipal. We empower all those households that has boreholes, and we bring our technology there. And now around them, there are a couple of people whereby we will work the irrigation work and all that. We'll work the work in order of the piping and to be able to reach out to our people. But the kind of water that will come out is not going to be the sewer water, because we are now drinking water that comes from sewer, and we call it water. Eh? We are drinking water in localities that comes out of sewage. Can you imagine that? And you call it water, then you're trying to put a bit of chlorine. And the more chlorine you pour on that or you put on that, it will not balance. You can't balance because we need balance. More chlorine, and we lose the originality of the spring water. Then we now drinking chlorine. That's why people are getting sick, unknown sicknesses. They don't even know why they're sick. So now, but once you establish such a municipal, then you're empowering households around those locations. Then there will be what you call an irrigation there that speaks to water, and with clean water that brings still water. Why should we have still water? Why should you go and buy water today, still water, and call it New South Africa? We need to create this from the ground, because I can tell you, there are countries who are doing better when coming to water, and they are not getting it from the ocean, from as if we are too many. South Africans are not many. In Nigeria, there are even more than 100 million. China, there are a billion. So you are not many here. So now, but now people are surviving, and we talk about we are many. We don't have a budget. We do have a budget. Dr. Smia spoke that we can give $1 million to each South Africans and begin to now emancipate them to have better lives. And this can be done, not robustly as we are targeting one another, but robustly looking at the crises that we are facing as a nation. Now, I want to call upon every South African even tonight. This is the presidential talk. And I want to say to all of you, Dr. Spear has spoken technology, and Dr. Mafura have spoken in terms of locality. And I want to sit here and say, I'm solidifying every talk spoken. Let it be engraved in every heart today. This is the night that you've been waiting for, where the truth will be known. And I said, you shall know the truth, and the truth shall set you free. Now we are coming to your villages, we are coming to your locals, meaning townships, and we going to actually do what we are talking about, and we'll make examples of those local townships, and create those municipals that are actually run by families, so that at the end of the day, we will have the life we used to have then, but now today, with clean water, with good water, with sweet water. I know that all South Africans want sweet waters. We are tired of the water that comes from the sea or the ocean. People wash from there. People, they wash themselves from there. People throw cats and dogs in there. So now let us, they do so many things there. I mean, they do rituals there. So let us go where we should be. Water that is for the people is water that comes from the ground. There's a difference between the firmaments. That's why you need us to come on board. You need the government of EcoForum to come and reiterate these matters so you can understand. The water coming up there is actually the utmost great waters, which sometimes in Western Cape we don't have. That's why you need this one under the ground, which is the one given to mankind to drink. And that kind of water, because of the sand, that sand refines it. That's why when the ancient people, or in the primitive time, they will drink from the springs, because there's water and there's also sand. And sand will deal with anything that is there, and with the germs and whatsoever. And people will serve from those thrones. So now, in other words, I mean, let's go back to how we used to do things, but use the technology of today, and you will see that in all our localities, people will absolutely begin now to become players in the microeconomy, and that will influence our macroeconomy, and we will participate to the global economies. This is the presidential talk with BJ Langer, the president of EcoForum, and I have by me Dr. Spear, our national spokesperson. We are thankful of EcoForum. We are thankful to have such minds, such thinking tank. We have here Dr. Mafura. Thank you, sir. Thank you. The chair of Gauteng. Thank you. We are really thrilled and so blessed with the mind that you are pouring to the people. Yes. Now, I would say to all of you, thank you and thank you. Catch us on Saturday and also catch us on Monday, where we'll be talking again with the young professionals, and also we'll be talking with our young and many entrepreneurs. And I'll be having in studio one of those young women that has landed in France and actually dealing with the GMOs. We are tired of big chicken and big carrots. We are tired of big chicken and big carrots. Yes. We are done with that. So EcoForum is coming to supersede that kind of a process. We need good food. We need organic food. They will be in the studio, and I tell you, you're going to have a great time. Catch us the same time, 7 o'clock, and I believe that we can even exceed. But let me tell you something. EcoForum as a government is determined to serve you 365 days, meaning in a year, taking it from 1652 to now. And that's how we adopted our GPA in 2017. 365 days in a year. We are determined to serve you, and we are your servants, and we are standing to say, let